welcome back. So imagine you want to cruise to the Amalfi Coast. And it's gorgeous, from the picturesque villages that line the coast to the hidden harbors and the legendary cities. The water is this deep turquoise blue and sunsets that literally take your breath away. It was a dream. Well, except for that one night that you got a bad oyster. You were sick, like green. But by the next day, you were back enjoying the scenery and all was well. The cruise comes to an end, you make your way to the airport, only to find out...
I'm sorry to announce that we're canceling Flight 909 due to severe weather in Chicago.
You wait in line with all the other passengers to get it all sorted out and finally get booked on a flight. Not the best ending to a really amazing trip. But later, when you think back on that trip, your overall impression is likely to be based on a few emotionally charged moments. Memories of the stunning scenery and the gorgeous sunsets fade into the background of that one bad oyster and the canceled flight.
Can you explain that?
This is a classic example of the peak end effect. The peak end effect is a cognitive bias that impacts how we remember past events. Intense positive or negative moments, the peaks, and the final moments, the end, are heavily weighted in our mental calculus of that experience. So we remember experiences in our lives as a series of snapshots rather than a video that we can kind of replay. And our minds quickly jump to the most emotionally intense points of an experience and the end of that experience.
You're right.
Now, there are two scientific rules behind the peak end effect. The first is that we remember negative experiences far more vividly than positive ones. The second is that last impressions are lasting impressions. It has everything to do with the recency bias. That causes us to more easily remember something that has happened more recently. And the peak end rule is influenced by this bias, which is why we remember the end more than the beginning. The peak end effect is largely attributed to the work of Dr. Daniel Kahneman and one specific study assessing patients' discomfort during colonoscopy procedures. He found that patients consistently rated their discomfort based on the intensity of the pain at the peak and at the final moments of the procedure, regardless of the length of the procedure or the pain intensity they experienced. Now, there are other examples that are not quite as uncomfortable, but equally as telling. One study, participants were given free DVDs. Now, those who received the more popular DVDs after the less popular ones rated the gift higher than those who received the less popular ones last. In hospitality, understanding and applying the peak end rule is not just a psychological exercise. It's a strategic tool to enhance guest satisfaction and create brand loyalty. Understanding the peak end rule provides insights into what makes an experience memorable for guests that encourage them to come back and tell all their friends.
And it's not a little better, it's much better.
I like being smart.